Where my towel? Here it go. No, I ain't even. I'm good. I gotta wipe my face, y'all. That light hot. Woo! Peace. Peace. All right, I'm gonna give y'all this little piece, and I'm done. I hope you got your pencils on your papers, man, so we don't get confused over nothing. Let me read y'all something real fast when I be telling Moors. Remember, your Moorish nationality is known all over, man. And the thing you must know how to do is proclaim, declare, and have due process. Remember, I talk about bylaws and different jurisdictions. Just like every state has their own bylaws, per se. Like every state have their own tax code. So pretty much that's their bylaws. Like some states don't pay taxes. So in certain states, they recognize your Moorish nationality. Like in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. They know who you are. It's in the library. It's in the library. All you got to do is go to any official and ask them what were Negro, blacks, and colors called before the Civil War. They'll tell you. It's locked up in the library. I promise you this. I promise you this. If you must operate on the right auspices, they will be willing to tell you. And you can have your Moorish American Day if the right people do the things the right way. Write this down. The General Assembly of Pennsylvania. Write that down. The General Assembly of Pennsylvania. File of the House of Representatives. Resolution number 75. I hope y'all got that. I hope y'all follow me. Mr. Whitkin in place, April 17th, 1933. Let's read it. Moorish American Society of Philadelphia and use of their names. Let's dig. Many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the architecture of Northern Africa and carried into Spain the influence of its artistic temperance, have become citizens of this nation. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. This society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption, by their people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens. These Moorish Americans have since being here missed the use of their titles and names. Annexation. Do you know what annexation mean? It means added to, next to what? Your name that your mama gave you. That were so familiar at home and which were used in accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith to which they are adherent. Therefore, be it resolved that this house commends the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for their efficient service. It is rendered that the nation is bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these former Moors, and that in accordance with the flawless rights of religious independence guaranteed every citizen. We recognize also the right of these people to use the names affixed El or Ali or Bey or any other prefix or suffix to which they have heretofore been accustomed to use or which they may hereafter acquire the right to use. Oh man, are y'all following me when I say we must defend the Constitution? It ain't nothing else you got to do. The speech of His Excellency Mahdi Goro, Ambassador of Morocco, at the Moorish Centennial Celebration, honoring our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, January 11th, 1986, at the Howard Inn in Washington, D.C. And I quote, and I quote, "It is a privilege for me and for the other staff members of the Embassy of Morocco to attend this, the Noble Drew Ali Centennial Tribute Dinner. Please let me take this opportunity to express to your collective appreciation for your kind invitation and my personal appreciation for having been chosen to receive the Ambassador of the Faith Award. I am greatly honored. It is also a pleasure for us to be in the company of such distinguished guests as those here tonight and to be taking part in such a joyous celebration. We are happy to bring you all greetings from His Majesty, King Hassan II, and the people of Morocco. By now, I have been made well aware of your devotion to strengthening the ties linking the Moorish American community to Morocco, and Morocco, for its parts, welcomes your interest and your work for a better understanding between us. I would like you to know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Your initiative is to be both respected and encouraged. As to us, we in turn have every intention of doing all possible to make our relationship a vibrant and a special one. But for that goal to be met, we must also look at the future. We cannot limit ourselves to considering just the historical aspect of our relationship. Are you following me? So that means we must restore it. It said not just considering the historical aspect of our relationship, thereby believing that the good relations between us are a matter of fate. Rather, we should understand our cooperation to be a living entity, able to grow and open the future. It is here that we can begin to recognize the importance of our children's role. Whatever advances we make, it is our children who will have to follow through. That's why our prophet said a lot of these old Moors have to sit down. Morocco is awaiting your proposals. We are pleased and proud to have the Moorish community as one of the bridges between Morocco and the United States, as a new voice in the network of our long-standing relationship. Thank you, courtesy of the Embassy of the Highness of Morocco. And that's just another piece of evidence that coincide with the House Joint Resolution 75, so as to shed light on the fact that our bloodline and heritage is known and respected, and that people take us more serious than we take ourselves. Are you following me? I just read that House resolution. I told you that people take our respect us more than we respect ourselves. Nationality, which arises at birth, coming from the word nativity, which means to be born, is the hereditary genetic birth line of any people of the same parentage. In divine natural law and in harmonious natural and international civic and common law, nationality lawfully bonds any people of the same pedigree together. Nationality determines the political and social status, the position or rank in society. And in the categorization of citizenship, status is the first issue, Moors, at law that must be addressed or considered in the national and international civic arena. And furthermore, Moors, nationality distinguishes between the primitive aboriginal, the sovereign people, and the foreign nationals and or aliens in all sovereign nations. Don't y'all know this? This is what you're going to get in school. I'm going to break all this down. Nationality determines all rights and privileges to the resources and the benefits of the land, and who has limited rights and privilege to the same. Most Moors, all they understand is about civil rights, but I break down human rights. Oh, who told you got to be civil? A national written constitution agreed upon by sovereign peoples protects their sovereign rights to all resources and benefits of their sovereign nation. Whereas foreign nationals have limited rights and privileges to the resources and benefits through treaties and that governments make with the sovereign governments in which they visit or live, and the treaties made between the primitive aboriginal sovereign nations or the home government and any foreign sovereign nations are constitutionally enforced. That's why we got to come together, man. We got to have a map. I'm trying to build us, man. This is something we got to be okay to let our brother bring us back. I've been through the fire. I don't want to just be teaching everybody else and they use these keys and we building and I be successful in life when I'm trying to show all of us to be successful and we can be multi-millionaires, understanding who we are. That's what I'll be telling Moors. We got the keys. All we got to do is come together. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1786 and 1787 and 1836 is the longest running treaty in the world. Also, the Treaty of Tripoli. And here are the excerpts from a book titled The Index of the British Treaties in 1101 and 1968. Man, I keep telling y'all, the stuff you got to defend the Constitution. In 1666, Articles of Peace with Morocco, signed the 29th of January, 1666. Entry in force immediately. Duration forever. Duration forever. When you research the Sundry Moore Act. Treaty of Commerce with Charles the 11th, King of Sweden, signed at Stockholm, the 16th of February, 1666. Entry into force immediately. Treaty of Peace with Sid Hamed, Hayder Galen, Prince of Western Barbary, Arzel, Alcer, etc., Morocco, signed at Tangier on the 12th of April, 1666. Entry into force immediately. Duration forever. Forever. 1666, the Treaty of Peace with the Bassa and Deviant of Algeria, or Algera, signed the 3rd of May, 1662. Entry into force immediately. The duration forever, but the treaty to become void if anything contrary to it shall occur. Supplemented by the separate article on October 30th, 1664, confirmed by the Treaty of October 6, 1668. Bernard 43, Chambers. These treaties is done. This is what they stripped of our nationality, so as to sidestep their obligations via the Article 6 of the American Constitution of the United States Republic. This is always why in 1705, the Black Codes of Virginia, Article 49, that the Europeans make a specific reference to Moors and how they are not subject to the Roman Catholic status and are distinguished from Negro, blacks, and colors. Are y'all listening to me? Let me say this again. This is also why in the 1705, the Black Codes of Virginia, Article 49, the Europeans make a specific reference to Moors and how they are not subject to the Roman Catholic status and are distinguished from Negro, blacks, and colors. I'm telling you, man, the laws protect you. What do our Moorish Quran say in chapter 47, verse 6 and 7? Who the Moabites from the land of Moab who received permission from pharaohs. Read your Moorish Quran. I ain't going to break all that down. You're going to get it in class. What about that national seal? No. You gotta we know they ain't have it, but that's why Moors not listen. Listen what you just said. The U.S. has never held any treaties. Though noble, they reign all treaties. You missing the whole point what I'm saying. I just told that I'm just breaking down. That's why I said Moors need to be students. We know the United States ain't kept no treaties. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about your nationality, and it's in the law books, and you're not Negro, black, and colored. You a Moor. That's what I'm talking about. That's a treaty that can't be broken. That's what I'm trying to explain. I ain't talking about no dumb treaties. I'm talking about you as a person. I'm talking about the source. And that's what I'm trying to get people to, the source. Forget all agreements. I'm talking about who you are as a person. Everything else is bullcrap. This is what I'm trying to tell Moors. This is what I'm trying to get us to think. That's where I'm trying to get us to think to the source, and we won't, because that's what we arguing about, some treaties. That's what I'm trying to bring out, Moors. We talking about some stuff that don't have nothing to do with your nationality, and I'm telling you about the rights of the indigenous people and what you must do to protect yourself. Forget some treaties. I just said the Constitution to protect you, but we worried about some treaties. That was for Negro, blacks, and color. Those was your civil rights, not human rights. That's why I said we missing the point. That's why I tell Moors they missing the point. Moors want to argue over principalities and not getting to the root of it, who you are. We should understand that the USA make no treaty, but we talk about the rights of indigenous people. We talk about the Sundry Moore Act. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about who you are. I'm talking about who you are as a person. I just said that this is why in 1705, the Black Codes of Virginia, Article 49, that the Europeans make specific reference to Moors and how they are not subject to the Roman Catholic status. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm trying to bring out people's heads, but we missing it because we want to argue and talk about things that has no meaning. And the only thing that matters is your nationality and your spirituality. That's what I'm talking about. We missing the fact. We missing it. We talking about some treaties and a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell people. That's what I'm trying to bring us back to. We arguing about, or Moors want to talk about stuff that has no meaning. And then when I talk about the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendments that I just broke down the laws, and we still go back to the same thing. And that's what I'll be saying. We need to be educated the right way, because they got us arguing over or asking dumb questions. Not to saying that was a dumb question, but the fact is our nationality. It ain't about a treaty. It ain't about no treaty. It's about your nationality. So, what time we got? Let me see where we at. Okay, because I'm about to break some stuff down. That's why I said we need to be students, man, and let our ego go and get into the know. And if we don't know for a fact, then we can't say this is a fact. We can't defend something that we think we know. We must operate the perfect way. And the great seal of the continental United States and the seal of the United States of America. We got to understand the difference. We got to understand it. That's why I say we got to be willing to be educated. Because in a court of law, there's no excuse of not knowing the law in the court of law. That's why I be telling Moors, you're going to try to talk about some treaty and you contempt the court. Because that is not what we're going to defend. We're going to defend the Constitution. What did I just say was on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? And you answered it. I said, what was on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? And then the first thing you asked me is, and we talk about is a treaty. And that ain't what I said. What's on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? And you answered it. You said Leviticus. And then I said, what Leviticus? Because Leviticus got to do with your nationality. And they got nothing to do with no treaty. Nothing to do with no treaty. That's why I'm saying our ears must be acute or attuned to things. And my ears always tuned to things. And I cringe when I hear Moors making statements that's not valid, because that's not what liberates us. Not no damn treaties. That's why you got to understand that the United States of America and the reconstructed history that George Washington, as a young boy, was so honest that he once said, I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree. Did you really think that George Washington chopped down the red cherry tree? This was a code. When I tell y'all everything is in signs and symbols, that was a code that was signified. And it signified the taking away of the Moorish birthrights, or that paradigm from the natives of the land. And most of the reconstructed history is hidden in symbology. It's hidden in symbology. Moors. Hey, I promise. That's why we got to study. It's a lot of treaties. So it's a lot of treaties. It's a lot of treaties. That's why I said Moors must be students. That's why I said Moors must be students. And when he said, isn't it? Because that's a question you don't know for sure. You don't know for sure. You said, doesn't the treaties? You should know for sure. So if you say, isn't it? That's you asking a question. And I'm telling you, it's a whole bunch of treaties. Just like it's a whole bunch of UCC codes. My cousin, he was in the military. It's a whole bunch of UCC codes. But what UCC codes is dealing with nationality and dealing with, you got a UCC code that's dealing with a lower rank soldier, not dealing with an officer. So we talking about stuff that deal with Constitution. Which one? Not no stuff that's been abolished. If we're going to talk about some stuff that's been abolished, well, you wasting your time. That's contempt of court. We ain't talking about no stuff that's not abolished. That's what I keep telling Moors. We ain't talking about no stuff that's not abolished. We're talking about stuff that's legal and lawfully. And who you are is legally and lawfully. And the laws protect you. You must defend the Constitution. And if you don't understand that, that's why we operating as Negro, blacks, and colored. Because we don't know the real law. And we must admit it. We must admit that. We must admit it. Because if we think something, the first thing I'm going to say is, let me see you operating as that. And if you're not, then that's a hypocrite. That's an oxymoron. Doing nothing that we say. We just talking. That's like the analogy of a log. A log can point. A log can point all day. And then people say they leaders. Well, a leader lead. A leader get his boots dirty. A log can just point. I ain't just pointing. I'm telling you, hey, I done been through the fire. That's why we here. Listen, we don't make excuses. We here to learn. So when we correct behaviors, just like if your parent correct behaviors, It ain't about that. That's why I said we got to remove our lower self. If we feel attacked, then this ain't for you. This ain't for you. You know, it ain't about us being up to date with this knowledge prior to service. It ain't about that. It ain't about that. It's not about that. More, you should know that when you talk about the piece of friendship, you should research it. Research it. You got to research it until its entirety. You got to research everything. You got to research every word in the language. That's why I said we must be students of things. And the only way to know the law is to study the law in its entirety and the full color of the law. You know? That's what I'm telling them. We must be willing to be educated. And I said we've been miseducated by our own brothers. We have to be willing to tear all that stuff down. That's what I'm telling brothers. None of this stuff I'm telling y'all is new. That's why I be telling more, just like none of this stuff is new. This stuff is old. And if this stuff is older than me, that did not mean we've been educated wrong by our mothers, our fathers, our own. Any group you've been miseducated. None of this wisdom I have is brand new. This is old science. This is old. This is old. So there's no excuse of not knowing is what I'm telling Moors. And none of this stuff is new. So if any more talk about, we ain't no scholar like you, that's an excuse. Because the more say, they study at home, and I say, what you studying? Because none of this science that I have is new. All this stuff is old. All this stuff is old. My mama know this science. My dad know this science. This is my upbringing. This is how I was brought up in my house. So I don't make an excuse as how somebody else was brought up in their house. My parents didn't lie to me. My parents didn't have no picture of no Jesus, no white Jesus on the wall. I come through metaphysics, understanding that God and man is one. That's my upbringing. So we can't say that we don't know something. Because this stuff is old. So we can't use that excuse of us not knowing. We just not connected to the right branch. And so once we do that, we must connect to the right branch. And now as adults, all we're going to keep doing is making excuses. And the excuse stopped today when you an adult. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't have time to be making no excuses, man. That's why, and I'm not nice. All I'm supposed to be is righteous and honorable and noble and committed. But it ain't nothing nice about me. See, Negroes get this mind. You know how black folks always try to tell another black more, talk about they got to be humble. See, that's an excuse. See, that's an excuse. That's only what Negroes do, that humble. But see, when I'm around different people in different nationalities, they see the confidence. They see the confidence. And if my confidence is my light outshining you, well, then you better pick it up. Because I ain't letting my light out for your light to shine. My light shines. And then we got Negro want to talk about we can be humble. Who told you to be humble? That's a slave. You must be confident and sure. But you got Negro talking about, I'm humble. What's humble? You should be confident and sure of who you are and your abilities. You have all the tools in the toolbox. So the only reason why you don't know, because that's your own willing choice as an adult not to know. Because as a child, you act like a child. But when we become adults, we put away all childish ways. We're supposed to connect to the right source. There's no excuses. Jurisdiction and the political status. Political status has been a topic that has been vaguely addressed in the study of jurisprudence. Yet it's the first issue at law that must be addressed considered nationally and internationally. And why have the scholars of jurisprudence not addressed the profound importance that political status plays in national and international law? Why have they not addressed the corporate status of the Moors, now labeled and classified as Negro, blacks, and colored Africans, and the legal significance that slave brands have in national and international law? And a careful examination of political status will give the Moors who have these brand names the inner and overstanding, if Moors always like to use catchphrases, of the importance of nationality and in danger at law of using these chattel brands as identities. When I talk about political status, is the categorization of citizenship and non-citizenship, social position or rank in a society with direct effect in relationship to rights, immunities, and privileges. It is the first issue at law that must be addressed or considered nationally or internationally. The following categories determine the status of the people or persons and what laws apply in society. So when I talk about status categories, we talk about nobility, sovereign, free white people. When I tell y'all white ain't got nothing to do, it's a status thing. That's why I say you must be educated. But we want to be lazy and think education ain't from us. And the first universities was in Timbuktu and Salamanca in Spain by the Moors. But you're going to be a goofball and talk about this science ain't from you. Foreign national, foreign subject. resident alien, non-resident alien, or 14th Amendment artificial person. Number 1 is nobility or sovereign free white person. Let's dig. A nobility. Moors are the nobles of North, South, and Central America, Al-Morocco, and the adjoining islands by hereditary birthrights. And this type of caste system, which is based on hereditary birthrights, was developed by us, the Moors, and the Albions, no disrespect. Europeans, Roman, and the so-called red men changed the caste system to a class system. To a class system, from a caste to a class. I hope y'all follow me. Which is based on what? Wealth, and hidden in what? Codes. Black and white implies color. When they conquered the Moors, or when they conquered the Moors, thus upspringing the heredity nobility. The Ali, the El, the Bey, the Al, and the Days are the Moors' noble titles to the lands, North, South, and Central America. And these titles of nobility are the only lawful titles of the land Moors. They are the titles of honor and nobility that are referred to in the Constitution for the United States of America, that they're contracted citizens. The Albions and the Roman males cannot claim and remain a citizen of the USA. If so, they would be in violation of the law and no longer remain a contracted citizens of the United States of America. And the original Article 13 that the English sociologists and social engineers now exclude from the common civil literature for the masses. It states this point of law. Sovereign, we the people. Moors are the sovereign body that is referred to as we the people in the preamble of the Constitution for the United States of America, Moors. And Moors are the true national sovereigns of the Great Seal continental United States of the Federal Republic. And sovereigns have supreme political authority. We, the nobles, are the primitive aboriginal people of the land. And Moors have all the benefits and rights to the land. Moors have absolute authority and rulership over the land, over yourself. You got to understand this. Not you finna get some free. When you talk about free white persons in Black Law's Dictionary, the 4th edition, because Moors love the Black Law's Dictionary. I got every one. Y'all love them, but I'm like, it's nothing but a dictionary. So y'all love it. Let's talk about it. Free white persons in the So Love Black Laws Dictionary, the 4th edition, 1968. Free white persons referred to in Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14th, 1870, has meaning naturally given to it when first used in the first status 103, section 3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. Right? It includes all European Jews, more or less intermixed with people of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, Finns, the Basques, the Albions. It includes the mixed Latin, the Celtic Iberian, and the Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, the mixed Greek, the Latin, the Phoenician, the North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and the Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European race, nor the mixed Indo-European, or the Dravidians, or the Semitic and the Mongolian people who inhabited Persia. I'm telling y'all, man. That's why a Syrian of Asiatic birth and a descendant will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. I'll get deeper with that, man. That's why the Moors are the true free white natural person, people of the Americas, of the Al-Morocco. Through what? Consanguinity, the pedigree, the bloodline, the heritage. The free white persons does not mean Caucasian race. Free white person does not mean Caucasian race. If you think that, you a lie and it ain't no truth in you. Free white people refer to the primitive aboriginal true nobles of the land, North, South, and Central America, Al-Morocco, and the adjoining islands. I hope you know this. Foreign nationals are citizens of a foreign nation. They are not residents of a foreign nation. They visit, and they often do not plan to reside in the state, but only visit as in a vacation stay. Foreign subject, a non-indigenous primitive. Foreign subjects are citizens of a foreign nation. They give up their allegiance to their pedigree or their nation and relinquish it to the foreign jurisdiction, United States of America Corporation. I hope y'all following this. Now, the root cause of black problems. I hope y'all writing this down. A lack of knowledge of self, which is tied to patronage through heritage and cultural orientation with sovereign rights to the land and resources. Number two, a lack of de jure nationality, a national flag and national seal to solidify the distinction of the above in the international community. A lack of birthrights and self-authority and heritage, land and resources due to theft by foreign and alien Roman colonial and corporation companies and states. A lack of sovereignty due to the theft of birthrights and the lack of a written constitution originating from self for national and international protections of sovereign rights and immunities. A lack of enough honest or knowledgeable true de jure representatives of the people branded as black who are willing to admit or to tell the truth rather than capitalize on profitable social and political opportunities open due to these civil wounds. You know, you got to go back. You know, a commonly held attitude of cultivated, weak, and sluggish will. When the pressure of work, finance, and sacrifices become evidence to bring the jura, the law, and a teaching of sovereign capacity to the stage of reality. And this is the weak tendency. It must be reversed with priorities clarified by proper civic instruction. What are you afraid of? You know, that's why I said we got to get ourselves back educated. It's the way, like I said, everything is an excuse. No disrespect. More when you want to hear, like when I say a lot of things, we make excuses. And I say, man, I don't make excuses. When a person say things, no disrespect, we have tools. But I don't like to have words or spells. So anything that come out of my mouth when I'm talking to my people or when I'm doing something, when I'm aspiring, it's not going to be no excuse on my lack of capabilities. That's when I say you got to do a strength analysis on yourself. We don't put negative things on us. That's just like saying that your family come from slaves. We have all the keys. We have all the keys. Before any people can be recognized by the international community of nations publicly, you got to declare your nationality. From this point, the rights and freedom solving process begins. That's why we got to be educated, because a lot of us, and I have to be honest, no disrespect to nobody, a lot of Negro, blacks, and colored don't even have a third grade reading comprehension, let alone understand words. So we got to be honest. Most Negro, blacks, and colored don't like school. But they just like to piggyback. They like to come on my Instagram and try to write stuff down and go back and try to talk about it. And then they parent and their empresses be like, oh, no, I know he a fraud. And this is what I'm telling you. I know. Moors don't like to study. Moors act like they follow something. A lot of Moors don't have a third grade comprehension level. And they just want to piggyback off something instead of being educated. And we must understand that we are education. We are education. We are education. We're not lazy Moors. We are education. If you're not being willing to be educated, I am not for you. You can delete yourself off my page. And I'm not talking to nobody specifically. I'm a teacher. I'm not here for likes. I'm not here for likes. I'm here for us to educate ourselves. No politically oppressed people can rise from civil death without knowledge of nationality, birthrights, and sovereignty. When I told Morth what chattel is in law, which has been and is politically applied to human beings who have been dehumanized by the U.S. demons or artificial persons or the constructs and the acts of forced enslavement. And chattel means an article of goods or a thing, and is specifically applied in law to goods movable and or immovable, except such as have the nature of freehold status. A freehold status. Chattel is also spelled C-A-T-E-L. And it's the same word as cattle. All they doing is using, changing the words to show you how it is written in political use with society. is to make the apparent distinction between a socially and a politically neuter or civilly dead human being and that of a common beast of the field, referred to by the so-called Willie Lynch papers bull crap. And I showed you that was a lie. When we talk about a crisis, is a noun and is unchanged Morse Latin word meaning the turning point in a disease toward life or death. Crisis also means an emergency. The very life and culture of the branded and the labeled people, suppressed by European occupational union societies, is in crisis. One of the many and numbered social caste traps disputing the oppressed dark and light olive Asiatic community in the Americas is the continuing national identity crisis. We have an identity crisis.
Yes, we do.
We have an identity crisis. And there are major social and economic issues facing our people who have been denied their right of sovereign to self-government. And most are unaware of the true sources of our oppression. That's why you got to understand this, man. Politically supported and protected social and economic distribution, engineering has been traditionally directed by the colony states against the indigenous people of Americas, or the Al Marouks. And this brand labels of Negro, black and color, and Indian and West Indian have been attempted or accepted as true and are framed, or they just retroactively into ancient history, meaning they just put it in there. These chattel brands and labels are frauds and are given to de jure and legitimate reality in states, educational system of the West. Don't y'all know this? Truth stands alone and needs no apology. I'm not apologizing for nothing. My mom right here, my dad in the room, my empress will be here in a minute. My family honor what I do. Long as I'm honorable, so I don't have to apologize. The truth has no size. I'm a theosophist. The truth has no size. When I tell y'all, do you know what an adjective is? Because I ain't no adjective. Adjective as applied to people. Adjective describe. They do not identify. The words Negro, black, and color are adjective. Don't y'all know that? That's when I say you must understand words. If you don't understand words, you don't know the context and the power of what the word you're using. You just talking. The word Negro, black, and color are adjective and have been used to label Moors who have been reduced to servitude by European colonists. It's just what it is. The words, in spite of their popular acceptance, cannot be properly used to identify any human being. And this fact alone should end any continued argument on the behalf of the fictitious name and the state of the present identity crisis. Right? We in an identity crisis. Here go example of the proper use of adjectives. She bought a black Rolls Royce. Royce is the noun. Black describes the Rolls Royce. Y'all follow me? She bought a black Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce is the noun. The noun is the car. Black describes the Rolls Royce. Just like this. Black wallet. The wallet is the noun. Black is the color of the dumb wallet. The condition of the nation looks very black. The word nation is the noun and the subject in the statement. Black is descriptive of the nation's condition. Are y'all following what I'm saying? And you don't want to be educated. The man has a black